When people speak about time, they often say, "I spent an hour doing this," or "I wasted 2 hours on that." But time is not spent the way money is spent. It is not merely gone, it is traded. You give up one thing to get another. You trade 1 hour of your life, something you will never get back, in exchange for a conversation, a meal, a distraction, or a step toward your future. And the most important question becomes, was the trade worth it? Consider the life of a person who wakes up every morning and reaches for their phone. 30 minutes scroll by, then an hour. Their attention has been given away, not taken, traded, not stolen. And what did they receive in return? Confusion, comparison, mental clutter. Every choice of time is a silent transaction. You trade time for experience, for pleasure, for growth, or for emptiness. Some trades are necessary, like resting, eating, connecting, but many are simply careless, because the value of time is not visible like money. No receipt is printed. No notification pops up to say, you just traded 45 minutes of your life for nothing. Success begins with understanding the nature of time as a trade. If you want to master your future, begin by mastering your hours. Ask yourself each morning, what am I about to trade my day for? A focused mind chooses carefully. It doesn't rush. It doesn't allow urgency to replace importance. It watches its time like a monk guards his breath, fully aware, fully present. Look around. Everyone gets the same 24 hours, but not everyone receives the same return. The difference is in the trade. One person trades their hours for knowledge, another for entertainment, one for silence and reflection, another for noise and distraction. One grows, the other decays. You may not have power over many things, but you have the power to decide your next trade. Will you invest your hour in learning, moving, building, healing? Or will you give it away without care to people and places that do not nourish your vision? The secret of success is not buried in books or locked in ancient temples. It's found in the way you treat time. The person who understands this no longer wastes their minutes. They don't kill time, they protect it. They become selective. Who they meet, what they consume, how they speak, how they rest, all becomes intentional. Even rest becomes purposeful. A nap is no longer laziness. It is a deliberate trade, time for restoration. Even saying no becomes powerful. When you say no to something unaligned, you are not being rude. You are preserving a trade that matters. You are saying, I will not exchange this irreplaceable moment of life for something that adds no value. This is not about being busy. It is not about filling every hour with productivity. It is about value. Are you trading your time for things that align with your purpose, with your growth, with your peace? People say time flies, but that is not true. Time doesn't fly. You trade it. And like any trader, you must know your worth. You must protect your time the way a warrior protects their life. Because that's what time is. Your life, measured in moments. Train your awareness. Every hour holds power. Every choice you make sets a direction. You are not running out of time. You are continuously trading it. And the quality of your life will be the sum total of all the trades you've made. When you walk with this awareness, your priorities shift. You begin to cut out the unnecessary. You stop chasing validation. You begin to live from essence, not impulse. Because you realize that success is not built in a day. It is built by how you spend your day. And with every decision, you ask the question that changes everything: is this trade worth it? Desire is natural. It rises without effort. It pulls with invisible force, like the scent of food when you are hungry, like the soft call of sleep when you are tired. Desire does not ask permission, it simply appears. But discipline, that must be chosen, built, maintained. Desire seeks comfort. Discipline creates strength. One leads you in circles, the other moves you forward. From the moment you wake up, desire begins to whisper, sleep a little more, skip the workout, check your phone, eat what you crave. The voice is soft but persistent. It offers relief, not results, satisfaction, not substance. But success, true success, is not for those who surrender to every impulse. It is for those who train themselves to respond, not react. Discipline does not deny desire. It simply refuses to be ruled by it. It is the higher voice, the one that sees further. It says, yes, I could take the easy way, but I won't. I will do what is necessary, not what is convenient. Consider the path of anyone who has built something meaningful. A master of any craft, a student of wisdom, a leader of strength. Their lives are not a series of lucky moments. They are the result of daily disciplines, practiced quietly, repeated relentlessly. You see the results, the talent, the clarity, the power, but behind it all is 1,000 invisible decisions: to wake up early, to stay consistent, to train when it's hard, to focus when it's boring, to say no when the world offers yes. Desire lives in the moment. Discipline lives in the future. Every desire pulls you toward now, a quick reward, a small pleasure. But discipline stretches your eyes forward. It asks, what do you truly want, and what are you willing to endure to reach it? This is not about punishment. Discipline is not harshness. It is alignment. It is your actions matching your purpose, your steps reflecting your values, your time reflecting your vision. When you live with discipline, you begin to gain power, not over others, but over yourself. You are no longer driven by feelings alone. You are driven by focus. You don't always want to train, but you train. You don't always want to study, but you study. You don't always feel ready, but you move anyway. Desire waits for motivation. Discipline builds momentum. And each time you choose discipline over desire, you strengthen the part of you that is unshakable. You teach your body to obey your mind. You teach your emotions to follow your principles. There is freedom in this. Many think discipline is restriction, but it is the opposite. Desire enslaves. It keeps you chasing more, never satisfied, always needing another escape. But discipline gives you control. You do not need to wait for perfect conditions. You move because you decided to. Ask yourself, what do I want long term? Not just today, but 10 years from now. Do my current choices reflect that? The gap between where you are and where you want to be is not filled by desire. It is filled by discipline. And discipline begins small. Wake up at the time you said you would. Do the task even when it's uncomfortable. Finish what you start. Speak with intention. Train when no one is watching. Each act is a brick. Day by day, you are building a life that desire alone could never create. Because desire feels good. But discipline does good. When you choose discipline, you don't just get results. You become someone different, stronger, wiser, sharper. And while others fall into the same cycles of distraction and delay, you begin to rise, not because your life is easier, but because your choices are stronger. Discipline is not loud. It does not seek attention. It works in silence and speaks through results. And the greatest discipline is not doing what others cannot. It is doing what you could avoid, but choose not to. Because you have seen the cost of following every desire, and you have tasted the strength of becoming disciplined every day, every hour, you are faced with a decision: the pull of desire or the path of discipline. One is easy and empty. The other is difficult and full of purpose. Choose discipline, not once, but again and again, until it becomes your nature, until your actions are no longer reactions, but reflections of who you have decided to become. The direction of your life is not defined by one grand event, but by the quiet rhythm of your days. It is not the storms or the celebrations that shape your destiny most. It is the routine, the simple, repeated, daily choices that seem small, yet carry immense power. Destiny is not an accident, it is a result, a product of what you repeat. And the routine you follow either moves you closer to purpose or further into distraction. Many people wait for a breakthrough, hoping one day life will change. But transformation does not arrive through hope alone. It arrives through habit, through structure, through the daily rituals that shape your thinking, your energy, your focus, and your actions. The truth is this: what you do consistently becomes who you are permanently. If your morning begins in chaos, scrolling through your phone, reacting to messages, rushing with no direction, do not be surprised when your life feels just as chaotic. But if you begin your day with stillness, with intention, with clarity, your inner world becomes ordered. And when your inner world is ordered, your outer world begins to follow. A daily routine is not about doing more. It is about doing what matters consistently. Excellence is never born from a moment. It is born from repetition. Look at anyone who has mastered their craft, built something lasting, or lived with wisdom. You will find a routine behind their success. You will find structure, practice, focus. Because without discipline in your day, you are pulled by impulse. You become reactive, not creative, busy, not purposeful. A strong daily routine begins with questions: what is essential? What strengthens me? What drains me? What patterns keep me average? The first hour of your day is your foundation. Begin with clarity, not confusion. Feed your mind before you feed your body. Train your focus before the world tries to steal it. When you anchor your morning, you are no longer tossed by the demands of the day. You stand rooted. Success is not built in hours, it is built in minutes. Even 5 minutes of stillness, 10 minutes of reading, 15 minutes of movement. These become seeds planted in the garden of your future, and when nurtured daily, they grow into strength, wisdom, and discipline. Many people chase motivation, but motivation is a spark. Routine is the firewood. If you want lasting transformation, build systems, not feelings. Train your body to move even when the mind hesitates. Train your mind to focus even when emotions waver. This is the secret of the routine. It replaces mood with mission. It removes the question, "Do I feel like it?" and replaces it with, "This is who I am." Routine becomes identity, and identity shapes destiny. Look at the patterns of your day. What are you rehearsing? Anxiety, distraction, excuses, or clarity, growth, discipline? You cannot expect a peaceful life if your routine is filled with noise. You cannot expect mastery if your routine is filled with mindless habits. Your destiny does not respond to what you say you want. It responds to what you repeat. Be ruthless with what you allow in your day. Your time is not infinite. Every hour has a cost. Guard your schedule the way a warrior guards their path. Make space for what matters. Cut what does not. The quality of your routine reveals the quality of your priorities. You cannot control every event that happens, but you can control the structure you live by. You can decide what your mornings look like. You can decide when you train, when you rest, when you learn, when you disconnect. That structure becomes your armor. A strong routine protects your energy. It shields you from distraction. It gives you space to build, to recover, to grow. It reminds you that success is not something you chase. It is something you build daily. Your destiny is hidden in your discipline. It is written in your repetition. You do not rise by accident. You rise by design. And the blueprint of that design is your routine. What you wake up and choose each day. What you do when no one is watching. What you prioritize when nothing is urgent. That is the quiet power that shapes everything else in a world where everything is calling for your attention. The greatest strength is not to consume more, but to protect your focus. Not every voice deserves your ears. Not every image deserves your eyes. Not every message deserves your mind. Attention is not just time, it is life, energy, and direction. Every day you wake up with limited attention, like a warrior with a certain number of arrows. Where you aim those arrows determines what grows and what withers. Whatever you give attention to gains power over you, and that is why you must guard the gates of your attention like a sacred temple. Let nothing pass unless it serves your peace, your purpose, or your progress. You don't just become distracted. You allow distraction in. You give it permission. Whether it's the endless scrolling, the empty conversation, or the news that only brings fear, each one slips through your gates because they were left unguarded. Your attention is your most valuable currency. Everyone wants to spend it for you. Platforms, companies, ads, and even people with good intentions. The more attention you give them, the more your mind becomes shaped by their voice instead of your own. Ask yourself, what has shaped my mind this week? Was it silence or noise? Reflection or reaction? Creation or consumption? To guard your attention is to live intentionally. It is to pause before you give something your focus and ask, does this deserve space in my inner world? Because the mind is not an open field. It is a garden. Whatever you allow in will take root. If you constantly feed it with gossip, anger, or fear, do not be surprised when those emotions grow stronger. But if you guard the gates and feed it with wisdom, clarity, and peace, that too will multiply. The person who learns to protect their attention begins to see what others miss. They are not overwhelmed because they are not overexposed. They are not easily shaken because they are deeply rooted. Attention is tied to energy. Every distraction steals a piece of your strength. It scatters your mind, fragments your spirit, and leaves you exhausted without ever moving forward. When your attention is undisciplined, your life becomes reactive. You are pulled in 10 directions, and none of them are yours. But when your attention is disciplined, your life becomes creative. You build, you think, you grow. Train yourself to choose your inputs as carefully as you choose your food. You would not eat what poisons your body, so why consume what poisons your spirit? This does not mean you shut yourself away from the world. It means you become discerning. Not everything deserves access. Not every update improves your understanding. Not every opinion is worth your mental space. There is strength in not knowing everything. There is freedom in turning off the noise. There is wisdom in choosing solitude over stimulation. Attention flows where permission goes. You must decide who and what gets permission to influence your thoughts, your emotions, your vision. A person who guards their attention becomes calm, focused, intentional. Their mind is no longer a battlefield for every passing thought. It is a sanctuary, protected and clear. In the stillness of undistracted attention, creativity awakens, insight rises, peace deepens. You begin to remember what truly matters. You start to hear the quiet voice of purpose again. Look around. So many people are tired, not because they are working hard, but because they are mentally scattered. Their attention is split between 100 tabs, apps, and conversations. But the one who guards their focus carries a different energy. It is not hurried. It is not loud. It is grounded. Discipline begins with the eyes. What you look at affects how you feel. What you feel affects how you act. And how you act becomes your destiny. So protect the first few moments of your day. Before the world enters, let peace enter. Protect the last few moments of your night. Let silence close the day, not noise. Protect the spaces between tasks. Let your mind breathe, not scroll. Guard the gates with the strength of someone who knows what is inside is too valuable to be contaminated. What you allow through the gates will either build you or break you, shape you or scatter you, focus you or fracture you. Guard it with the awareness that what holds your attention eventually holds your life. In a world that moves fast, where speed is celebrated and noise is constant, stillness is often misunderstood. People think stillness is laziness, that silence is empty, that slowing down means falling behind. But this is a mistake. Stillness is not the absence of movement. Stillness is the presence of awareness. Stillness is not wasted time. It is productive time, because it reconnects you to clarity, to purpose, to inner power. It is the space where you stop reacting and begin creating. Think of a muddy river. When the water is stirred, everything is unclear. But when it rests, the mud settles and clarity returns. So it is with your mind. As long as it is in constant motion, rushing from task to task, absorbing noise from every direction, clarity is impossible. But in stillness, the mind settles, focus returns, direction appears. This is why the most effective people protect time for stillness. They meditate, they reflect, they breathe, they walk in silence. Not because they are avoiding work, but because they are strengthening the inner space from which all action flows. The most dangerous form of business is not physical, it is mental. When your mind is always working, calculating, worrying, analyzing, you may look productive, but you are actually leaking energy. You are moving, but not progressing, working, but not creating, reacting, but not leading. Stillness is where strategy is born. It is where insight rises. It is where wisdom whispers. Without stillness, you chase what is urgent. But with stillness, you begin to choose what is important. It is not enough to be in motion. A person can run fast in the wrong direction. Stillness is what allows you to pause and ask, am I on the right path? Is this the best use of my energy? Is this aligned with who I am becoming? Even in high-performance spaces, athletes, artists, leaders, you will find that those who rise highest are not always those who do the most. They are those who know when to stop, when to listen, when to reset. They build rest into their rhythm. They step back, not because they are weak, but because they understand the power of retreat. Stillness is where burnout is prevented. It is where overwhelm is healed. It is where you meet yourself again after being scattered by the demands of the world. But stillness must be intentional. It doesn't come by accident. You must make time for it. You must protect it, the way a farmer protects the soil, because everything that grows in your life grows from the ground of your inner state. The modern world wants your attention constantly. Notifications, updates, endless scrolling. Every sound and screen is competing to pull you away from presence. But presence is your power, and stillness is the path to presence. Do not confuse noise with achievement. Just because your calendar is full does not mean your life is full. Just because your day is busy does not mean your soul is fulfilled. A few minutes of stillness, practiced daily, can shift everything. It teaches you how to return to yourself, to detach from the noise, to listen beneath the surface. In stillness, you begin to hear what your distractions were drowning out. And from this silence, new thoughts arise, new visions form, decisions become clearer, emotions become balanced. This is productivity, not just the productivity of doing, but of becoming. It is in stillness that you notice what needs to change, what no longer serves you, what habits are draining you, what truths you've been avoiding. This kind of awareness cannot be forced through hustle. It must be invited through rest. Stillness is not inaction, it is interaction. It is the resetting of your nervous system, the sharpening of your perception, the realignment of your values. Even 5 minutes of quiet in the morning can anchor your day. Even a silent walk in nature can recalibrate your energy. Even a deep breath before a decision can prevent a wrong turn. Stillness brings back what the world tries to steal: focus, direction, self-control, and spiritual clarity. It is not weakness, it is mastery. It is a power that does not shout, but shapes everything you do from the inside out. If you wish to create, to lead, to endure, to evolve, learn to be still. Learn to sit with your thoughts. Learn to listen to your breath. Learn to embrace the quiet, not escape it, because in the quiet, you do not fall behind. You finally catch up to who you truly are.